Hello and welcome everyone. Welcome again to our Tubonga Thursday, and this is our fourth edition. We've been talking about, sexual health, COVID-19, and how it's affecting young people, and we need to dive in deeper. Remember, young people are still at home. Adolescent girls and boys are still at home. Teen pregnancy may be rising. But do we also ask ourselves, while they're at home, using the internet, surfing the social media, are they safe? Are they secured? Are they protected from cyberbullies? Are they protected from sex predators who constantly abuse our young children, adolescent girls and boys in the internet? Today, we want to understand, and we have for you amazing panel all the way from Malawi. Imagine, Malawi, online, in Kenya. This is going to be amazing. And as usual, we also have some of our Kenyan panelists who are also going to break down this conversation and information for me and you, and even for parents to understand how can we protect our kids. And for us as Straight Talk, we believe in the 3 E's. That is, we educate, we empower, and we entertain. And right now, stay tuned as you enjoy this music.
Yeah, sawa. Isaidie tu tuko wax kama kao. K the Great. Can I be free? Relax and take it easy. We only get one life, so live your life.
Hit man thing. Bad man thing. Hit man thing. Wabebe, skilo. Wabebe wasikia. Wabebe, skilo. Wabebe wasikia.
Mama kamba bananilowa, usipende katapalowa. Mama kamba bananilowa, usipende katapalowa. Mapo, kolo, waimona abi on the daily. Mapo,
Toto kibogo, huyu mtoto kibogo, yani kibogo, sijamuona kama ye, yani kibogo, sijamuona kama ye, yani kibogo, sijamuona kama ye, yani kibogo.
How you doing, ladies and gentlemen? They call me the king of New Wave.
somebody call 911.
Welcome back, everyone. So today we really want to understand what are the effects of young people using online space to interact, to learn, because school is also now online. We've seen a lot of schools in Kenya, actually taking up the online platform to continue with the syllabus. We want to understand how safe is this? Are the adolescent girls and boys safe? But as you all know, I don't always do this by myself. So I have my co-host, Stephen, who is also having a beautiful surprise for us. Stephen, if you can hear me, I know people are so excited to see you and to know what you're bringing for us today, different from last week on Thursday. Karibu sana, Stephen. Stephen, just unmute your mic. We can see you talking, but we cannot hear you.
Now you can hear me.
Yes.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Stephen Zusa, and today I'm with a wonderful Hope Wamboi, the poet. This young girl, it can never get better than this. Multi-talented. She can dance. You can dance, right? Yeah. She can model. She's done poems for the president of this country. She's also been able to accompany our own national team, Arambe Stars, to the AFCON in Egypt. She has a story. Today she's going to show us how to wash our hands, what to use as a mask. She's going to show us how to make masks. And all of them are labeled hope, because she has to give us hope. And so this show is gonna be lit. It can never get better than this. You can put Jeff Koinange's voice on that note. Back to you, Evelyn.
Oh my goodness. Should I say my, oh my, it's gonna be lit. It's gonna be fantabulous. It's gonna be amazing. I hope Jeff Koinange is able to watch this. Thank you so much, Steve. We are happy that we are going to have her join us, and Nan also from a child perspective of how everything is for her at this moment and how she's actually trying to cope. And as you can see there, it's hope, there is hope, and she's really giving us a lot of hope right now. And this is all we need with the current pandemic and everything that is going on. We all just need to hope that everything is going to be okay. And right now, I just want to welcome our amazing panel today. Just on the screen, we have Shalom all the way from Malawi, and she's going to tell us also, how Malawi is. Welcome. I'm so delighted to Thank you, Shalom. We also
thank
have
you so much. It's so amazing to be here, and I'm really excited to meet everyone and to get talking about everything online. Really excited. Thank you guys for having me.
Amazing. Welcome, Shalom. We also have Philip Ogola, our own here in Kenya. Philip, karibu sana.
Yeah, good morning. Good afternoon. Hi. Thanks for the invite, and it's been a crazy day. Today I'm working from home. Yeah, and I'm looking forward to have an interactive session just about online safety and how parents and youth actually use this space for, to not only boost their careers but also enhance their talents.
Amazing. We are also very delighted to have you. We also have one of us who is Brian Oteno. I don't know if Brian is already here. And Brian, if you're here, you can also just say hello to our online viewers so that we can kick off and start this amazing conversation together so that we get to learn and at the same time we get to have fun, because it's important that we also keep the high spirit and have the high note. Regardless of everything that is happening, we still need to breathe and smile. And as Hope will also be telling us later on when she is being interviewed. So just to kick it off, I really want to introduce Shalom so that we all get to understand who is she and how important she is being part of this conversation. So Rugare Shalom is a social worker, women's rights defender, and a gender equality expert. She has a particular interest in sexual reproductive health and rights, and has been involved in work in SRHR within the African continent. She currently serves as a program director of Every Girl in School Alliance, EGISA, an organization that is working to enhance girls' access to quality and equitable education through strengthening social accountability system. She is also a network member of Sex Rights Africa Network, SRAN, a member of the She Decides Malawi, and lastly, a member of the Coalition on Prevention of Unsafe Abortion. As a member of the She Decides, SRHR and particularly safe abortion is a core mission. Together, they are relevant partners that assure working in hand with every other organization for your cause and mine to ensure that women and girls are protected and secure. That is Shalom, and we are delighted to have you here to join us today. Also, we have Philip Ogola, also a digital humanitarian expert, currently working with the Red Cross and also an ambassador for social good with the United Nations. Hey, can I get an hallelujah from the online viewers? That is just amazing for the great work you guys are doing just to ensure the members of the community are safe and protected. And I want to welcome you all, our online viewers. Welcome to our conversation today. Remember, if you have any questions that you need to ask our panels, just put them on our different social media platform and we'll be able to share it with them so that they can respond to it. If you also need to tag them, you can tag Shalom at EGISA on Twitter, and the rest will come in, and Philip will also share his handle so that we are also able to tag him along as we are having this conversation. And now, Philip, just tell us about what you do, because you do a lot of online safety and security and also humanitarian work. We would really want to understand where is the link and how are these two aspects of life very important.
First of all, I need to make something clear. I no longer work for Kenya Red Cross. I used to work for Red Cross between 2011 and 2013, where I was their digital head. Yes, I am Philip Ogola, and I'm the founder of Digital Humanitarian. So Digital Humanitarian conducts, champions and advocates for the use of social media for social good. We also conduct a lot of humanitarian advocacy from health. Just also focusing on the youth, and we also train youth on digital literacy, how they can use the social media to tell stories and also build their career and their talents. And we also use social media to also advocate for digital footprint, where youth can also know the kind of stuff they post online can actually can ruin or build their careers. And also just to have etiquette online, because most of us do not know the power we have on the digital space. Each one of us can become a digital humanitarian. We can all champion one cause or another, be it mental health, and all of us need to know that anything we post online can actually have an impact to someone else. How many of us know that if today, God forbid, I die today in an accident, and some of you take my photo and post it online, how many of you know that my family may actually be traumatized? My mom, my brothers, my wife, my kids. So we all need to know that we are what we post. If you post trash online, you will be treated as trash. And I'm an example of good use of social media, where I've won various global awards. I'm currently the UN Foundation, one of the 14 global UN Foundation plus social good change makers globally, who were nominated because of the use of championing social good practices in their communities. So I've also been nominated as Africa Social Good Ambassador in 2014. So it just shows that we have a power in our hands to tell stories. In Africa, we have a big problem. We don't tell our stories. We only amplify the negative side. We all talented in one way or another. So I really request the youth to now not only use this space to not only showcase our talents, to amplify positive stories, and also just help those who are actually in need with the digital space.
Amazing. I have heard you talk about digital literacy, and perhaps some of our viewers don't even understand when you're talking about digital literacy. What exactly are we saying here? Are we saying that we know the different social media platforms that exist and that's it? But there is more to digital literacy that I, as a young person, when I'm using the internet and the online spaces, that I should be aware of?
Let me just backpedal a bit. In our days, we used to use the diary, where we used to write our fears, our concerns, our secret issues on our diary. But now, the current youth right now have the social media, where they post all their concerns, their fears, their sexual issues, which may actually come to affect them later in life. So I'll probably change the audience. Do you use the internet to use social media to get information or give information? So we give too much information about our intimate relationships, where we stay, our fears. We abuse government. We are vulgar. We post our dark side of life on social media, thinking that it's secret. One thing people need to understand, that once you post something online, you cannot delete it. It will be there forever. So digital literacy, which as digital humanitarian, we've rolled out currently we've done about 111 schools, where we just train them on good practices online, how they can secure their footprint online, and how they can be positive. And as much as we are all, we may be mad or in love, but do not share such things online, because it may actually come to actually haunt you. So digital literacy is actually very, very key to not only guide the youth on good access online and how they can navigate, because the digital space has a lot of predators, people who can not only ruin young youth. We've had cases of where young girls and boys have been defiled because of the digital space, where they meet with someone and they take advantage of them, or just someone ruining a career based on stuff you actually post. So digital literacy is actually very, very key for both parents and youth to understand the dangers and opportunities which actually are actually online.
Yeah, it's really key, because I've also heard you talk about how young people can be abused online, because we have other people who sort of like hide themselves in mask in the form of like really wanting to give you a credible information or to teach a young person something, but in real sense, they're not really credible enough, or they're not open enough to help these young people. And I just also want you to sort of like tell us, because having that you've worked more on the online platform, you literally understand the space and how the space can be used correctly with young people, whether giving or receiving information, whether educating or informing or entertaining. So maybe you could tell us, because I see right now there's also like a sprout of the TikTok, and just the other day, there was a trend of like how TikTok has been exposed. I'm not sure if it's for security purposes that it has been exposed, but it's just also to understand from you, an expert who's done this thing for long and understand the pros and cons of the different social media accounts, and how best can we as young people, apart from just receiving and giving, how can we use the digital platform to grow ourselves?
First of all, TikTok is now the most famous platform for for the youth. Everybody's actually right now on TikTok, and it's old guys like us. We just on TikTok just to watch the trends and not to understand. I'm there, yes, but I'm still learning how to navigate it. But I'll just advise the youth that the social media space, there's no privacy. Whatever you post there, be very careful that 2 years from now, 1 year from now, and whatever you post now, will you be comfortable to share it in a public forum, in your employer, in your school? And nowadays, even universities actually vet students. They vet you based on your social media posts. So how many of us know our digital footprint? So yes, TikTok is a good platform to showcase your, especially for artists. If you're a good dancer, you're a good singer, you're a good poet, it has given many opportunities to the young people. I know a couple of young guys actually making money from their jokes, from their dancing skills, from their poet, from their photography, from their videography through social media. So I would really, really encourage you to steer clear from personal issues. If you're young at heart, you're a youth, avoid posting too much intimate issues about your love, your private life. Avoid posting your location, where you're staying, about issues which can easily identify you, because you never know who is actually watching and who can use that information. And one thing I need to actually make it clear before you post anything, just kindly think twice, think thrice. Social media, there's no privacy. Anything you post can actually be retrieved if there's a law. There's a lawsuit actually in place. So yes, social media is a great opportunity. Right now, many people are actually working from home, and it has given platform to artists, musics, people actually making money from home. Social media has showcased talent. Like I'll give an example of my son. I have a 7-year-old son. Right now, he's a good dancer. He's a good singer. He's a poet. He shoots, edits his own videos, and he's pushing me to push him on social media. And I'm told him not yet. So we find as parents, do we know our children? Do we even know the talents they have? Social media has given our children, our youth, the opportunities to bring out their talents, to actually hone their talents. So I'll really encourage youth not to put too much information, because when you put too much information of who you're dating, who you're in love with, your fears, those are information which can be used to bully you. Avoid, and the one thing, rule of the thumb, never ever share any nude photos and any photos which can be used against you. On the digital space. Yeah. So I really want to tell you one thing about cyberbullying. In our days, bullying used to happen in schools where it used to be physical. And right now, the digital space, bullying has gone digital. And the sad bit about bullying online, it has no shelf life. I can wake up tomorrow. I can wake up 1 year later. I can wake up months later and pick up that topic. And the sad one across the world can actually join you. Strangers who don't even know you. So before you join social media, before you post anything, are you ready do you have the temperament to because some comments will be very, very mean, very, very mean. It needs someone who has the the thick skin, bullies will always be there. So it's you not to feed them with content which they can actually use. So me, I'll encourage people that social media is a good space to showcase your talent. Social media can actually, if you're a parent listening to this, this generation is very talented. I've seen people who can dance, people who can sing, poets. As a digital material right now, I am managing accounts across the world. I'm doing campaigns across the world. I have even clients who I don't even know I would ever met, but social media gives us a space to reach a global spectrum. So do not use or abuse that space by posting stuff which can actually ruin your career. So that's one thing I'll actually advise you. So if the stuff, if you're the kind of person who abuses people online, are you able to do it face to face? If you're the kind of person who abuses the president or the leaders, these things will haunt you. If you're the kind of person who sexually character assassinates people, these things will haunt you. And trust me, social media has the internet has a very, very long shelf life. So let's try and be positive online. Let's not abuse and cyberbully others.
Yeah, I mean, what you're saying is very important, because sometimes we do bad to others, not knowing how it will be able to eat us back in the long run. And I see a lot of, journalists, great personalities being exposed and being abused and cyberbullied, and especially on Twitter, one of the platforms that people thought, or I thought, was most secure, a place that you can actually have a very candid conversation, but it has sort of like also changed a little bit. But away from that, I heard you talk about having a 7-year-old child and how you're really trying to protect him from the digital world with the bullying and everything. So my question to you is, at what age do you think is appropriate for a parent to allow his or a child to start using the different digital platforms? And bear in mind that right now children are at home. Many of them have tablets, many of them have phones, they all have access to internet. So at what age is it totally appropriate for a parent to say, okay, well, now you can have your own page on Twitter, on Facebook, on TikTok, and do whatever you want, and especially for adolescent boys and girls?
I think the most appropriate age is 13 years old. I mean, just being a teenager going forward. But as a parent, you can guide your son, daughter on how to navigate social media, help them in the teenage years. Just walk them through. As a parent, you need to understand how the internet space works, the social media space works. Before you allow your daughter or son to join social media, you must also walk them through and tell them that this space is toxic. This space you can be bullied, and there's addiction. How many people, like for those who are tuned in, if you wake up, what do you do first thing in the morning? Do you check your phone before you sleep? What do you check your phone? If there's power blackout, do you complain? Oh, there's power. Are you the kind of person when you go to someone's house, you ask for Wi-Fi? That means you're actually addicted. How many of us are addicted? How many of us can stay without a phone for a day? So for my son, I have actually taught him how to shoot. I have taught him how to edit videos. I've taught him how to navigate the digital space, but I've not allowed him yet to actually get online. So what I'm planning to do, I'm planning to actually have him join me in what I do, just to understand. He's been part of my digital material movement, where he knows how to give back to charity. He understands the dynamics of the YouTube, how it works. He can navigate a laptop at 7 years old. He can shoot, edit, and caption photos, but I'm not allowing him yet. So as parents, we need to be present in our children's lives and just walk them through and show them the dangers and the opportunities. I believe most parents deny their children access, but for me, I'll say give them access, but guide them on the opportunities. Also, limit their online time. One thing we have in our house, we have a policy where we have internet-free zones, where if it's a dining table, there's no phone. When you're having a movie time, when you're having homework time, no phone. So these kids know that I'm only allowed to be online this and this time, and the rules which apply offline also apply online. So he cannot abuse, he cannot cut, he cannot show the public. Yeah.
Yeah, I think what you're doing with your child is very important, and I hope if there's a parent out there who is also listening to us, it's important that you be present in your child's life, and especially with this digital world, you never know. And this makes me want to ask you another question, Philip, because right now schools are going back to the online space to educate. Is there a risk and threat? Because I've also had other people reported, like, if your child is having online classes, just be aware and take care of their security, because they're hackers. They might hack when the class is ongoing and just sort of like abuse the children. So is there a huge threat and risk right now that we have our children, our brothers and sisters having the classes online?
Sorry, I had to shift a bit. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Just kindly repeat the question. My net kind of there was a dip in my net.
It's okay. So my question basically is, right now schools have gone online, and most of the time a parent will give a child a laptop and say, okay, now you can log into your class. But then we also know that there are predators who are able to hack into different accounts, into different laptops and stuff. Is that a risk threat to schools and also to children themselves?
The biggest risk I see is the children stumbling on adult content. If you're a parent and you're going to give your son or daughter a device, kindly make sure that the back settings have actually been limited to if it's a 3-year-old, if it's a 7-year-old. Like for my son, devices are actually skewed to a 7-year-old. Whatever he's going to see on YouTube are going to be about a 7-year-old. If he tries to Google some keywords, he cannot. I've actually blocked. And what I've done is I have synced my phone and my laptop to their devices. So anything they do, I can actually monitor and see what they're doing, what they're searching, which keystrokes they're doing. So as parents, we need to understand that just before you give your son a device, make sure.
We have lost you a bit, Philip. We've not had the last bit of your words. Philip, we are losing you. We are just losing you a bit. We are not able to get exactly what you're saying. Your voice kind of sort of like disappeared while you're speaking, but I hope if you're able to hear us now, maybe you can continue.
Sorry, can you hear me now?
Yes, thank you.
So I was just saying that before you give your son a device or your daughter a device, just kindly make sure it's age specific. Make sure the age parental controls are being put in. If it's YouTube, limited to the age. If it's Google, the search engine, limited to the age, because you don't want to give your daughter or son a device and they go online. Trust me, online is worse than drugs. They'll stumble on pornography, they'll stumble on predators online, and we have people who online who thrive on child pornography. They'll bait your daughter or son with content which is not palatable for kids. So it's key before you allow with this now homeschooling and digital learning, where you make sure there are parental controls on all the phones. Like for my devices, which I've given to my sons, and I have 2 sons, so each of them have a phone and a laptop. I can see what they actually do online. I have synchronized both devices, so I can see what they're doing with each of the phones, and I've limited the content to what they can see. So that helps me to understand the kind of their navigation, where they go, and that kind of stuff. So one thing I really advise is, let's not give. If you have a kid, avoid giving location, the age, the school where they're learning, because those are the information which hackers will use, and also less. If you're gonna shoot avoid going live in most instances. And also get to know if your child is going to have any friends online. Just try and also find out who they are. There are tools which you can actually find out. I mean, get to know the age and everything.
Yeah, I mean, we would really love to know what tools are those, because it's not only the children, from 9 to, let's say, 15 who are also at risk of digital bullying and predators online, but also adults are also at this risk, because a lot of frauds is going on, a lot of blackmailing is going on, a lot of cyberbullying is going on, and it's sort of like the entire community is currently affected. We see a lot of people being depressed because of the online content or the online bullying that they receive, and that begs me to ask the question of how do we deal with this? Like, when I'm being bullied online with a particular individual, what are the measures that I'm supposed to take or to put in place to ensure that he or she either gets punished, or I just pull myself away from that whole situation just to protect myself also as a young person?
First of all, now the Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok are very elaborate reporting mechanism. So if you're a youth or a minor or a parent, you're being bullied online, or your son is being bullied, the first step is to report. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter have a very swift reporting mechanism, and we've seen so many people who have lost their accounts, where you report and say so and so bullied me, and you can verify that you are the owner of the account, or your phone is the one which is circulating, and the bully will actually lose the account. So that's one of the ways. The second thing is to take a screenshot of that bullying comment or that bullying post, because they'll actually delete it. So use that screenshot, report to the police. Right now, the police, there's a cybercrime unit, and it's also working. So do not take it. Do not suffer in silence. There's a law against bullying. There's a law against revenge, pornography, assassination. These are issues which can actually be addressed by the. So how parents can actually deal with bullying? One, first of all, is to know your children. I believe most parents are detached. We don't even know when they're bullied, when they're stressed, when they're depressed. Be present in their lives. You see, the social media makes us antisocial. We are all busy in our own lives, and as parents, we are not present in our children's lives. So know when they're down, know when they have issues, they have underlying issues, and just have your kids trust you. Have your kids to be your best friends. If they're going through something, you're the first one they actually come to, not going online. And it goes back again to having etiquette, where you train your children on good practices online. Avoid posting too much information, because, like, for instance, now if you go record yourself in nude and posting it online, that is recipe for bullying. And so let's limit on what we share online. Let's think twice before we give too much information. And let's also not give. There are people who will bait you. This is a free advice. I'll actually tell the young people, never share any photo with your boyfriend or girlfriend, or any video which is incriminating, because that video will actually be used at one. If today, most of us, this selfie generation, we all take photos, we all take selfies, we all record ourselves. Avoid recording yourselves in a compromising situation. If today you lose your phone, if today you lose your laptop, are you comfortable with the content on your laptop or your phone? Are you aware that there are tools which can retrieve that phone memory or laptop memory, even if you flash it? So it's us, the onus is on us. Before even they start blaming hackers, it's us now to actually make sure we secure our data, we secure our location. And to parents who are watching, avoid posting your children or on social media, where you put their full names, their birthdays, their school, their class achievements. Avoid doing that, because you're actually putting too much information out there. So if I'm a kidnapper, I know your kid where he's learning, where he's schooling, their achievements, their name. So it will be so easy to me to go to the school or just go meet him and say, hey, I'm your uncle and I've seen, so let's try and avoid putting too much information about our children online there, because this information can be used against us, especially when we're staying where we're working and everything.
Yeah, I totally understand how it's important to keep your private life private. And as much as we see other people that we look or we emulate put a lot of content on social media, and we are like, oh, I want to be like him, I want to be like her, you know, she's putting on a nice bikini, and then this is a good picture, let me go take it and then put it online. We forget about how that is actually very harmful to us, because people on the online space are not as open or as honest as we are when we're doing our online stuff. So
one thing before I forget, social media is a big lie. It's a big lie. People lie a lot. I can be going through depression. I'll post that I'm having fun, I'm on holiday. People are not truthful. Instagram is the biggest scam ever. People, if you look at the photos which people take, they have put filters to look pretty, or TikTok add some filters for them to. We are not. People are battling a lot of self-esteem issues, and a lot of celebrities, people on social media are going through stuff, but they put on a brave face that, hey, I'm doing well, I'm doing well. So do not beat yourself too hard. But if you see me dressing well, I see someone else dressing well, has a car, you don't know what they're going through, but you have that life. So do not you lead your life. Your time will come. So don't beat yourself because so and so. So there's a lot of competition online that I want to be like so and so. He's dressing well. He has nice shoes. He has nice watch. Your time will come. So if you're eating githeri, just enjoy githeri. It's what you have right now. Don't not aspire to eat. Like I'll give an example. How many guys go to Madari and post in Madari? But when they go to Kempiski, they'll flash photos of, hey, I'm at Kempiski. But when they go to Madari, they are a bit. Even on Mother's Day, how many people post their mothers and but they don't call their mothers? At your happy Mother's Day, you need my mom, but you don't call your mom. You don't even know how your mom is doing. So it's just like social media is actually offline. We're the ones who make it online by the posting. So let's get offline, just catch up and find out how you're doing. How many friends call you just to find out how you're doing? But many just will WhatsApp you, hey, uko fiti.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Phil, for those insightful and really timely, points and conversation, because I believe every young person who is watching you today, they totally understand the importance of, social media literacy and just protecting yourself first before you think of like, how am I going to use this platform correctly? How am I going to become famous on this platform? So it starts with you. Your security on online platforms starts with you. What you post, like Philip said earlier, what you're saying on social media, remember, he said it cannot be erased. It will be there. So be very careful and wary of what you're posting. And for parents who are watching us, be your friend's child. Get to understand what is it they're learning from the online space. Who are their friends? Just like the digital expert has said, it's very key and very important. Thank you very much, Philip, for having this conversation with us. We're looking if the young people have any questions for you on the social media platform, and we'll be able to share it with you so that you can respond to some of their questions. Right now, I want to bring Shalom and understand, is it different in Malawi, and how different is it? Is it the same situation, or Malawi is safe and we in Kenya are struggling? Shalom, tell us how is the online Malawi?
Pardon? I didn't hear what you just said.
How is the online space in Malawi? Is it different from how the Kenyans are using it? Is it safe? Is it secure?
Okay, so I think pretty much when it comes to the online space, it's really the same story everywhere you go. And especially now, 2020, such a crazy year, so much has happened and a lot of things have had to move online, including learning for students, including working for people who go to work. And so this has really called for a lot of online engagement. And with that, it has come with a lot of issues as well, whether be it for kids or for adults. So I know that with Egisa, one of the things we've tried to do is, since we've not been able to go to schools and interact with children directly in schools, as schools are currently closed, we have been trying to reach out to parents through different platforms. We've used the She Talks to have a She Talks on cybersecurity. And what we were trying to do was to really reach out to parents and say, this is the reality of, online, and this is some of the steps that you can take. So we had different panelists who were also able to share. And it was interesting to hear what was coming out from this panelist, because one of them was a lecturer at a university here, and she was able to share some of the challenges, even at that level of tertiary students, issues around pornography, issues around sharing of content that you would otherwise not want to be publicized. So we're talking about nudes, etc. And we also had an expert on the panel who's an owner of an internet service provider. And he was sharing an experience which actually shocked me, because he said he was in a Zoom meeting, a Zoom call with other internet providers from around the globe, and their meeting got hacked by someone who just displayed pornographic material. And this was over 50 people in this meeting. So it really got me thinking how, and this is a meeting of internet service providers, people who know the internet, and their meeting got hacked. So what more for kids who are school going level, what more for kids in secondary school, in tertiary institutions. So it's definitely real, and it's definitely happening everywhere, and Malawi is it's no exception as well, especially now during this COVID-19, when everything has pretty much transitioned to online. Yeah.
Wow, that story that you've just shared of an internet provider and their act also beats me to like, oh my goodness, how safe am I? I don't know anything about the digital space. How safe am I? How safe is the adolescent out there? And that brings me to ask you, because I know, Egisa, you deal closely with young girls, and women in the community. And right now you cannot social distance, you cannot see them one-on-one. And you do a lot of conversations online, bringing them together just to ensure that, education, sustainability, like you're educating them, and then also having access to reproductive health care is still essential. What are some of the online platforms you're using, and how are you really trying to ensure that your women and girls that you constantly engage with are safe?
All right, so far we've been able to use Twitter for the Twitter chats. We've been able to have different dialogue on there to engage people, and we've also been able to use Facebook Lives. So what we have done is, for the Share Talks, we have done those and recorded, and then we put them on live on Facebook so that people can watch. And then for the Twitter chats, we usually just have different people to respond to the questions and engage everyone, and people answer. And then when that is done, we come up with a report that can then have information that can be disseminated to the different people that we work with. And also acknowledging that not everyone that we work with is online. In fact, the majority of the people that we work with are not online. So we have been fortunate enough in Malawi that we have not really been restricted in terms of our work. So as long as we have the protective gear that we need, we have been able to go, of course, not as much, but relatively once or twice a week, we've been able to reach out to the people that we're supposed to reach out and do the work that we're supposed to do while observing social distancing and doing everything we're supposed to be doing, because it can be a bit tricky, because we're talking about grassroots level communities that might not even have access to radio or TV, let alone online. So for that, we've tried to sort of keep it going less frequently, but just going. And then for the online community, we've really been able to use Twitter. It has been very helpful. We've been able to use Facebook in order to disseminate this information as well. And we're looking to see how we can leverage on the power of radio to also distribute and share different information, especially in regards to SRHR in this time. Yeah.
Yeah, and maybe just to also sort of like really understand, because I know you have like a great group of women and girls, and when you're having your online conversation, some of these women might perhaps share their very personal stories, and like you've heard from the digital experts, sometimes sharing of such content, it's not safe. But for advocacy, we will tend to sort of like encourage, so that we show the policy makers that we are not talking about numbers, we are talking about faces and real stories. How are you trying to, with your organization and the partners that you have, trying to protect the women and girls even after the online space interaction? Because remember, we have trolls who will continually troll these women even after the conversation and make their security, sort of like very scared moments. How are you working to protect your women and girls even after the online conversations?
Yeah, so it's so tricky, this online thing, it comes with a lot, and to try to really control can be a bit of a challenge. We had someone explain it this way one time. He said, when you're trying to engage people online, you can decide to make it closed to the point where it can be difficult for other people to access. And then where's the point in that? You're just keeping the information to yourselves. So the moment you decide, so you sort of have to strike a balance between opening up your online space enough for people to engage so that it's productive, but also not too much that anyone can have access to it. And so it's always a challenge trying to balance that. And I am happy to say so far we have not had that challenge where we've had trolls, etc., especially during this time of a lot of online engagement. We have not had, and I think it would be interesting to look into what are some of the measures that we can take even to prepare in case of such eventualities, because working online it can be a bit of a challenge when it comes to things like that. Of course, there are laws that protect people, etc. However, in terms of knowing, especially issues around the trolls and dealing with all of that, it can be a little bit tricky. However, for now, we have not had we've not had a lot of challenges in that regard. Yeah.
Yeah, because I've also been able to see some reports saying, a woman committed or a young girl committed suicide after being online bullied. And this is serious. I can give an example of Kenya. We've had a lot of comedians quit whatever they're doing because of online bullying. And that's really the worry of what of our women and girls, and especially young women and adolescent girls and boys in our community. Are they safe? Are they protected? Can we be assured? And I really want you to elaborate, because in the world of sexual health, the information we say it's online. Go online, Google it. You're going to get it, but we don't go an extra mile to understand where are they getting this information. Who is giving them this sexual reproductive health information? How do we go about that?
All right. So I think that because on the internet, it's a bit difficult to control what the other person does from the other end. The best you can do for yourself is to control what is within your reach. And that has to do with being careful about who you allow into your space. So, there's sometimes you get a friend request and it's someone that you don't even have mutual friends. You have no idea how this person found you. Therefore, what business do you have accepting this friend request? So I think it has to do with a lot of what you can do from your end in order to protect yourself. So some of the things would include being careful about who you allow into your space, which followers you allow, which friends you allow. And it also becomes tricky because there's this thing about the internet where one wants to have a lot of followers. People care about all these vain things. Oh, how many followers do I have? Or how many friends do I have? Whether it be Instagram, Twitter, etc. And that can get in the way of the true reason why we're online, and it can actually come back to bite us. And the other one would be, you really need to be careful what links you open up or what links you follow, because not everything is good on the internet. In fact, there's actually a lot of bad. And I think Philip mentioned something about the dark internet earlier on, and that's true. There's actually the side of the internet that we don't know well enough, and we don't want to know it that well because it is scary. And so you really need to be careful about what links you open. And some of the things you can also do is to not share your passwords with people. So a password is something that should belong to you, and you should keep it safe because that is how you access your accounts. So try to avoid sharing your passwords with other people, because you never know what other people are going to do with that information. And like Philip also mentioned earlier, you also have to be careful what you share, because digital footprints are real. So you might share nudes today with someone just thinking, oh no, this is my partner, what harm could this be? However, you never know what happens tomorrow. And as long as this is something that someone can use to sabotage you, these are some of the things that can then in turn cause cyberbullying, because there's now all this information about you online. You can't control it, you can't control who shares, who has taken a screenshot, and that makes it a challenge. And the other thing I think that you can do from your end is to not entertain strangers. So you'll find that a lot of the rules that apply in the physical world would also apply online. So the same way that you don't just entertain any kind of strangers is the same way that you really have to be careful about who you entertain online. And online is even more scary because people have different personalities than than who they really are. And so you really have to be careful about who you interact with online. And if you feel that you have seen something or something is going on the internet and you're really not comfortable with it, you can just stop. If you're talking to someone, fine, maybe you accepted this follow request, this friend request, and you started talking to this person, especially for the kids, and you start to feel a bit uncomfortable. Maybe this person is asking you to do things that you're not comfortable with. You can really say, no, I am not comfortable with this, and stop. Or you don't even have to explain yourself. Just continue talking to this person for your own good, because with the internet, you really have to make sure that from your end of things, you've taken care of yourself. And the other one also would be, try to avoid filling in profiles that require your address. Sometimes there's these pop-up dialog boxes that come up on the internet, and they'll ask you for a street address, etc. Especially to the kids who are watching today, these are some of the easy ways that we give ourselves away to even kidnappers or people who try to take kids and do all sorts of crazy things. And so never give away your address. Never do that, because you never know who wants it and why it is that they want your address. And definitely, avoid meeting people in person that you've met online. Don't do that. Don't do that. It's very dangerous. And yeah, so if you're talking to someone and they make you uncomfortable, stop. So I think these are some of the things that you can do from your end, because when it comes to the internet, it's a bit difficult to control what other people do or how other people say things to you. And coming back to the question of cyberbullying online, it's crazy, it's almost inevitable, and you can never really tell what would trigger it, because you can never really tell what the actions of the other person are going to be. And so with that said, I think that's why it's also very important for people of a certain age to then be allowed to be online. Because I liked when Philip said he does not allow his 7-year-old to engage with people online. He doesn't allow him to be on the cyberspace at all, because he's 7. And so if he is to get cyberbullied, he doesn't have he doesn't have those coping mechanisms to even deal with something like that. So I think there's a reason why they say you have to be at least 18, because there's a certain understanding that comes as you're older and as you begin to understand how things work. So yeah, that's what I have to say on this.
Yeah, I mean, hearing it from you, I am already thinking of myself when I first joined Facebook. I didn't have any digital literacy. So I went ahead and accepted all the following. Like, I'm so excited getting everybody following. So every time, exactly, because I was like, oh my goodness. It's a new, I am excited and very happy, because I didn't know what the digital space looked like. I wasn't aware. And listening to you speak right now, I feel like I really need to go back and unfollow some of the people I'm following, because I literally don't know them. But I followed them before, because I was like, oh, this is nice, this is amazing, and just bring sense of how also I need to protect myself and secure myself when I'm using the digital platform. And I also love the aspect when you talked about cyberbullying and how that translates even to physical life. So for everybody who is watching us, it starts with you. Like all our panelists are talking about security starting with you. Whatever you do on the physical is the same thing you're supposed to do on the online. Remember, the people behind this entire technology and everything, they can also be hacked. I mean, they can also be hacked, and you can imagine if they also can be hacked. Exactly. What of me and you? And Shalom, I know women and girls reach you online. They either call or they send online messages to ask on where they can access reproductive health services. How do you ensure that the people who are contacting you have not stolen identity of the women and girls you are serving? Because I also know there's a lot of identity theft online, and they might be looking for you to sabotage the kind of work you're doing, because you do a lot of work when it comes to sexual reproductive health and rights, which sometimes is not really acceptable to our community. So how do your organization maintain your security? Because your security is also very important, and that is the only way you can also serve the members of the community. So how are you guys managing with theft identity for women who, or girls, or any person who might be reaching you online for sexual reproductive health services?
Yeah, so it's hectic. It's crazy because, again, not everyone who's online has good intentions. Some people really just want to sabotage, and some people really just want to find a way to sabotage the work that you do. However, till this point, we have not had any known cases specifically for Egisa where we've had someone try to sabotage the work that we do or try to find out information just to throw us under the bus or anything like that. And so typically what happens is if someone reaches out for information, we can refer to the appropriate service provider because we don't directly provide some of the services that they might be requiring. And so we have a network of partners. And so we also constantly share, even on our social media, if you need this kind of service, these are the people to contact. And so when we get queries like that, we usually just refer to the people that we feel are best suited to take on that case. However, till this point, we have not had cases or any known cases to us of identity theft. Yeah.
Yeah,
it's definitely a serious threat, and I can see how one would try to sabotage the work that you do, taking advantage of the online space. Because sometimes people don't even have the real names as usernames. People have all sorts of creative names and hashtags and ads, and so you can never really know who you're talking to. Sometimes they can even have a picture on. So it's crazy. It's really crazy, and I think you have to do everything you can in your power to ensure that you're taking care of yourself and doing the best that you can from your end.
Yeah, very true. Yeah, because it's crazy, like you've said, I go with a different name on social media. You know me with a different name when I meet physically. Sometimes it's also challenging and a little bit scared because it might be your real friend, but how they call themselves on social media, you ask yourself, okay, are we hiding from something or are we doing something that is illegal? And that makes me want to ask you, because you deal closely with adolescent girls, how can parents communicate to them that there are some content on social media that are illegal for them as children to watch or to access? And this is relating it to also sexual reproductive health and rights, because how can parents communicate to their children, and especially to adolescents, on what content they can access on the social media and what they cannot access? Because sometimes you may limit them putting a password or a parental, when they open a certain space, it comes in. But what if they use a neighbor's phone? You are not able to know what they're doing online. So how can they communicate that?
So I think the key here is with parents, and I think with any type of information, you assess your child's age as well as their level of understanding, and that really determines how much you can share with them and how you're going to explain it. So if we're talking about young kids, because I know even now with online learning, I know parents who unfortunately still have to go to work, but their kids have to continue learning. And so you have a 9-year-old at home with the phone, with the internet, and they are learning online while the parents are at work and the kids are just home with the maids. But then you really don't know what's going on or what's happening on this phone between the time that the parents have left the house and when they come back. So it's tricky, and you really have to find a way as a parent to talk to your kids the best way that you know how, because of the age that the kids are at as well as the level of understanding. And so I think the key is to really have positive interactions in a very non-threatening manner. So talk to your children. Don't threaten them and say, hey, don't do this. Don't do that. Just explain to them nicely what exactly is the internet, and then walk them through how it could be harmful for them. And then perhaps together with the children, they can then set up ground rules to say, if it's the usage of the phone, when school has ended, you give back the phone. Maybe it stays in my room and then you get it back the following morning, So I think parents should really open it up as a conversation with their children where they can say, okay, so this is what's happening. This is the internet. And these are some of the challenges that could happen as a result of online engagements. And so what kind of ground rules can we come up with? And then you come up with the rules together with the children. And I find that with children, when you come up with things together with them, they're more likely to listen and abide by the rules. And also just explain to them how the internet is, just like real life, there are certain things that should not happen. There are certain things that are not okay to do in person and therefore should not be okay to do online. And then also, I think as parents, I'm told there's a website called www.opendns.com. I will probably tweet about it a little later after this conversation as well. But I'm told that it is a website that has a range of products that can help to make the internet safer for your children. And so when you install the package, it enables you to actually have faster internet as well as safer internet that protects against malware and phishing. And so it's something that parents can do for their children. It's called www.opendns.com. And so parents can really check that out. And I think those are some of the things. You can manage the passwords for your children's tablets or laptops or whatever it is they're using, and just to ensure that the flow of information that is passing through there is the safest possible. Yeah.
Yeah, and we are talking. Okay,
yeah.
Go ahead.
I think the other thing that can make it a challenge is that in today's world, you find that kids actually know more about the internet than the parents do, which makes it a bit tricky. And I think that's why in our efforts, we really need to also target parents, especially parents who might be illiterate, but then the children know everything there is to know. And so what are some of the ways that we can help these parents begin to even have a basic understanding of the internet that is, still basic, but then enough for them to be able to protect their children? And so I think OpenDNS is a good place to start. And I'm sure Philip can be able to recommend other websites as well that parents could check out, in order to, nothing too difficult to set up, but something that will definitely go a long way in terms of protecting yourself and your children, because that is the reality. These kids are smart today, and they'll tell you things that you didn't even know how to do on your phone. So, yeah.
Yeah, very, very true. So, as we're talking right now, there's a Zoom that has been hacked, and it was an SRTR webinar. So I'm just seeing, people on the same platform that I'm in talking about how they're traumatized and how they feel bullied because they have been hacked. So it's actually a webinar that is ongoing, but they have been hacked. Just as we're talking about cyberbullying and how that can be very dangerous, very traumatizing, to our work as sexual health reproductive experts, advocates, as digital humanitarians, to adolescent girls and boys. Right now, there is people who feel like, oh my goodness, our security has been tampered with because they have actually been asked. When we are talking about cybersecurity, it's no joke. It's serious.
It's not. It's really not.
Behind that screen, who is behind that WhatsApp, that Twitter, that Facebook? You never know what the intention. So it's important that you actually take care of yourself, and that's why I feel this conversation is really dire, really important, and what our panelists are telling us and talking about is amazing, because we need to protect ourselves, protect your children, adolescent girls and boys. Like Shalom has said, your child will go missing. And not because your neighbor did something, but because they met somebody online. You can imagine. They met somebody online and they were like, come, let's go.
Information that they needed. Yeah, it's scary.
Exactly. Yeah,
it's scary.
Very scary. And I've had also other children commit suicide because of online platforms. They played the game and they were told, cut yourself. Okay, good. Congratulations. Level 2. This is what I want you to do. Go buy a rope. Goes and buy. I bought it. Congratulations. You've done amazing. Level 3. And at the end of the 10 levels, you lose a child only because of an online space. So it's very important that we really take care of our adolescent girls, and especially the information, the people they are interacting with. But it's not limited to children. Even you as a young person, as a parent, me as a young person, Shalom as a young person, we are all, at risk. We are all vulnerable to the digital media, and it's important that we take care of ourselves. Shalom, please don't leave. Stay here with us. I know there are a lot of questions coming for you, and people will be able to ask you a few questions that you're able to answer. And thank you very much for that insightful conversation. And right now, I just want to welcome Brian. Brian, welcome. I know you're here. Thank you for joining us. We can also hear your perspective from a psychologist's perspective. How is it and how can we take care of adolescent girls and boys on digital platform? Maybe you can just say who you are and welcome our online viewers, because we didn't introduce you earlier on, but now that you're here, it's your time.
Hi everyone, Brian here. I'm being told I was the one who was late, always late. So I'm really liking the conversation. I'm a psychologist by profession. I work with young people, adolescents and young people through use of art. So we do most art therapy and mostly life issues among young people and adolescents. And I'm glad to be here today, Eve. Thanks for inviting us for this session, and I'm really liking the line where the conversation is taking us, and it's so insight moving forward just beyond this conversation. Back to you, Eva.
Thank you, Brian. I think I will just go straight ahead and ask you, some of the questions, because if you've followed, you've heard about what Philip has been able to talk about and what William has been able to talk about. But now we want to understand the psychological bit of the psychological bit of abuse online, and how does that affect especially an adolescent? The point they say, I think I am going to commit suicide, or I just want to go with this person who I've not met and is a stranger, but we've only met online.
So there's a lot of Shalom has already talked about a lot, and Philip also talked a lot the same. So based on the conversation that's going on, and it's still moving forward, it just says that a lot of accounts being hacked and Zoom meetings being hacked on the same. The same is being impacted on how someone feels, and it's really much on the way we can view the internet is more overworld to us, because it's like a jungle. So imagine you being in a jungle and you have no protective measures, like there's the lions, there's the wild animal, like all sorts of wild animals. There's a lot of impact on mental health based on cyberbullying. And let me just mention a few the long-term effects of cyberbullying that come along with the issues of using internet. One of them is most of the time we use the internet to connect, and I think the main purpose of the internet is to bring us together. Human beings, naturally, we are meant to link and connect to each other, and internet is really helping us to do that. But at some point, it also brings the harm for us, to most of the time withdraw from it. Instead of connecting us, it makes us it kind of separates our intent to interact and to get to know each other very well and get to have more information about each other. One of the biggest impact and one of the biggest impact and effect of social media bullying is withdrawal and social distancing from people. Because you've seen, for instance, I'm going to use one of the most famous comedians that recently was one of the discussions online. Conversations and cyber trolling was really much into him at a point he had to withdraw from what he was doing, and it really gave a hit on him to the point he couldn't manage it anymore. This is someone we know that is strong on comedy, and this is someone who makes us laugh. But it's the point where now we are getting so much impact from him as it's being affected on him. So social distancing and social withdrawal from normal life really happens most of the time when people are cyberbullied. And the other thing that really comes is the use of substance. For you to get out of the reality of being it's kind of being hit so hard, is the only way to relieve from reality is using drugs. So there's an increase of substance use and alcohol when it comes to such situations. So long term, it really hits a lot of people the same when it comes to that. That thing is about like people develop poor communication. It comes to a point where now people are not even able to express themselves the way they want, because anytime they feel like they want to express themselves, they develop anxiety. There's anxiety that comes with, what if I say this, then I get this back? What if I do this and people don't really attend to what I'm saying? So it doesn't just happen online. It goes beyond the online platform and comes to the real life where they are not able to communicate to anybody else because they feel that they're going to be bashed in anything they're going to say. And um, the other thing is depression that comes with suicidal ideations. And with depression, it's more of, you think about more of like things that people do to you and you feel like you're not worth it. You feel like your value has really been diminished by how people are really looking at you, what people are saying about you. Because it starts with anxiety, it goes to panic, and then the most above it all is now depression that really hits hard on the individual on the same. And then there is anger and aggression. People start developing anger. Like people just become agitated and become more like bitter to the world because they feel like this is what the world is giving me. This is what is coming out of people who I feel like I want to interact with. And in a long-term perspective, people become so much bitter with everyone else. Those people who are not part of the concept of the interaction within the internet, and it really becomes bad to a point where people like become so much not aware of what they're doing, and they do things that they're not able to even explain to themselves. You ask them, they'll tell you, I don't even know how this happened. But you look at the root cause of it is that it started from trying to interact, trying to connect with some people, trying to connect with people online, and then it comes back and bash on them and become angry because of what the world does to them. And this is what happens in social media. So I think in most cases, it just affects someone's behavior, affects how someone feels, how someone interacts, and how people feel like they see the world, like perception of the world in general. So basically, that's what social media can do to someone. And again, last above them is suicidal ideation. Suicidal ideation, like you mentioned, there's a lot of information on media, on social media, and there's a lot of information on the internet, and there's a lot of games that happen every day. Young people are really engaging. I remember the movie I saw where, as you're mentioning, there's the game of like you have levels. First, you have to go like rob a liquor store. Then the next level, you have to do something. At the end of the day, people feel like they become failures because someone else is doing better than them, or someone else is performing better than them in this particular game. Even the gaming world, like in the racing games, they feel so bad about it. And the next thing is they feel like they're not worth it just because of that, because their mind is so much focused on the same. And the next thing is because they're not worth it, because they cannot make it, they cannot go beyond what they see, or beyond what they manage to do. Next thing is committing, dying through suicide, because it becomes so bad the point like the worth of their life they like punish themselves. That is the issue of harming themselves because of the same. Yeah,
it's sad. I mean, it's sad to listen to reports of a child committing suicide because he or she is being bullied online, and it's also sad that the same predators go scot-free. As much as the law is there, we know it's there, the account will be taken down, but the psychological effects and the psychological impact still remains with this person who's been bullied, with this person who's been, violated online. And I just think that these are some of the things that the law does not really capture well. Well, if you remove my account online, then what? I might not do it the next day, but what of that individual that I have really bullied and that individual that I've taken, advantage of because they're vulnerable being online? And this really makes me want to ask you that as a parent, if I am a parent, how will I know that my child is being bullied online? What are some of the signs, some of the behaviors that can tell me that your child is not okay, they are undergoing something wrong on the internet, or they're being bullied on the internet?
I can't say it's that easy, because dealing with children is one not easy task per se, because with children, their behavior keeps on changing. depending on how they interact. They're still developing within that time, especially when it comes to adolescents and young people. It becomes a bit difficult to predict or even kind of withdraw or deduce some kind of change in pattern of behavior. But there are few kind of things that someone can pick out of it. And before I go to that, is for you just to make sure that your kids are safe. It's always good to manage how they interact with their guides. And within this period of time, I feel like there's so much access to smartphones and gadgets than it was before. So we are having these small cases daily because children are more able to access smartphones or tablets or computers. They're able to access the internet more compared to how, like, let's say 10 years before, like in our context currently. And we are still adapting on how to go about it. Like as parents, it's not that easy because it's something that is sort of an emerging issue for them. One of the things that not all parents might be able to have phones to give their kids, but for those who are able to provide like gadgets for the kids to access internet, it's always good to always moderate. So some of the things that may really express like a hint for you to notice that this kid is either being bullied physically or online are just basically the tendency behavior, like how are they behaving when it comes to interaction within online platforms. So with kids, some of them might portray tendencies of bedwetting. That's one of the key, because with bedwetting is more about anxiety and tension that is developed due to like the natural environment that kid is being brought up in. And with bedwetting, basically it might be one of the symptoms, but basically it happens mostly with kids who are being kind of harassed or feeling like their world is not secure or safe. So it's a matter of security and belonging within that environment. So that's one of the symptoms that, like one of the hints that you can get as a parent with kids that are being bullied, either within the school or online. The other thing is withdrawal. Like these kids start, like they feel like they no longer want to interact or engage with other kids or within the family, the family environment. In most cases, you'll find them doing their own things. Like this was not a character that was there before, and it's something you can pick from how you like when you're eating at the table. Sometimes you might ask them to go and play with other kids. They feel withdrawn because the other thing I mentioned initially was these kids don't feel, they feel worthless. Like their worth is no longer there as they felt before. They don't belong within the circles they used, because they're being bullied. They're being let feel like they don't belong. Because kids really want to feel an identity, and they really want to like find a place for them to call my position, my group. But if the same group is the group that's kind of pulling them or pushing them away, they kind of withdraw from it because they don't feel like they belong. They'd rather be alone, because whichever group they go to, they're being trolled out of it. Yeah. Another thing is that the kids may be nervous. Like nervous in a way that anytime they try accessing internet, you feel like they're a bit jumpy and like kind of they don't want to, and again they want to, and they become so secretive. They may not want you to know what kind of information or content they're accessing within the internet, because the fear is the moment you know that bullying is taking, like so they're being bullied or there's someone who's kind of trolling them, you take away the phone. And this is the only way they're able to interact, especially now during COVID. They're not able to see their friends. They're not able to interact with their friends. They're no longer able to play with their friends as they used to play before. So the only thing that they're able to use to interact with their friends is the gadget. And if they tell you about the bullying, you take the gadgets away. So they develop fear and they become so secretive about the kind of information they kind of show you on their phone. Initially, they used to show you about memes or show you some funny videos, but they kind of don't do it again. They become so secretive that they start laughing or kind of become sad about it. But when you ask them, they kind of give you a brushy face. There's nothing. So they become so secretive on the same. Then they become, so let's say, kind of, let me say, I wouldn't say suicidal, but they start talking about suicide, like asking questions about what if I die today? Will my friends even come to my burial, or will they even attend my funeral, or will they even cry? Do they talk about me in a good way? Will they say good things about me? Because it becomes the point it's so much into their mind, into their head, the point that they can't handle it anymore. They feel like it's the end of it, and these kids start asking questions. They start thinking about death, or you tell them something, they get agitated and say, just feel like dying. Like, you guys are coming so much into my nerve. They become so agitated and aggressive and stuff. So the other things that you might get from the kid is there's loss of weight or gain of weight. They might be having trouble sleeping. They develop anxiety. Sometimes they become withdrawn from the hobbies, like the things that they used to do most of the time. Like if they liked, let's say, cooking with the parents most of the time or doing dishes, these kids will feel they'll no longer feel the passion or the need of doing that. They like making their beds in the morning. They won't do that. So these are kind of the small guides on how you can feel like my kid is not well. It may not necessarily be through bullying, but like not every kid will experience the same kind of behavior, but these are the major kind of behaviors that have been found among kids that are being bullied, mostly in school and on the internet. Yeah.
Yeah, it's really sad, and I think what all of you have been talking about constantly is parents, be your kids' friend. Just monitor what they're doing online, understand what they're doing online, know who they're talking to, what conversations are they having online. And for those who are watching us, you might just think an online space is a space to entertain yourself, to share whatever you want, but there's also psychological consequences. Like you've heard Brand talk about it, they start withdrawing. They don't want to engage with whatever everybody else is engaging in. They become secretive, not because they want to, but the force behind that online platform is forcing them to do stuff that even they themselves, they might not be aware of at that particular moment. So it's very keen that we really look into how can we safeguard the mental health of young people, and especially adolescents. Now that the new classroom is online, we've had Shalom talked about even gurus and experts of digital media being hacked. I've just told you of what has just happened right now for a webinar that we had organized. It's been hacked. So you can imagine of how there's a lot of things that go into the online space that not only affects the children and the adolescents, but also affects parents, older people who are using the online space. And this has a huge psychological effect, from suicidal, from anxiety, from depression. And all this is because of how we're using or how we are allowing the young people to access digital space. Brian, thank you so much for coming in and talking to us about the mental health, and especially for young adolescents, and how very key and very essential it is for parents to look on how the children are behaving when they're using the different social media platforms. Please don't go, because I'm sure our online viewers have a lot of questions for you, because they themselves are also users of online platforms, and perhaps they might need advice or help when it comes to how they can handle the mental health and the anxiety that comes with the online space. So guys, today our show changed a little bit. As you can see, I sort of like just started with all our panels and just bringing them together to get this conversation, but that was also because some of them were leaving and we didn't want to miss on that important conversation that they had to bring to us today. But now I want to take you to a surprise. My co-host said he has a surprise to us, and what is the best way to finish this show with a surprise, with some dance, with some creativity, some new skills being added on. And it's also nice to also hear from a child's perspective. How is the online space like for them? So yes, and now I want to welcome Steve, my co-host, to take us through these next sessions, because it's also going to tell us how the online space is for these beautiful guests that he has for us today. Steven.
Guys.
Hi everybody.
Hi guys, my name is Jenny Machula, Taragas High School.
My name is Rafael Juma from Tata County Student School.
My name is Maureen Shitawa. I'm from Shenas Girls High School located in Nakuru County.
Mimi Madu, Makimaina, Tika High.
Hey guys, I'm Belinda Sifuna, Machu Girls School from 4.
I'm in Form 3 and you're watching Straight Talk TV.
Watching Straight Talk TV.
I'm in Form 4, the school is in Machakos County, and you're watching Straight Talk TV. Keep watching.
Yes, and this is Straight Talk TV. Steven.
Yes, my name.
Uko wapi, unafanya nini na huyo msichana mrembo?
Unaona vile amesimama kidete anangojea awafanyie poem, lakini kabla afanye poem,
yes,
nataka atuambie jina lake, anaendaga shule gani, na ako class gani.
Conversation yetu hapo awali imekuwa tusiseme mali watoto wanasoma. Remember, it's an online space, so we also need to protect the identity.
Atatuambia basi jina lake na ako class what na ameprepare poem gani kwetu.
Yes.
Hi, sasa Hope. Tell us your name and which class you are, and then tell us what you have prepared for us today.
My name is Hope Amboy Ochen. I am in this junior.
Just tell us what class you are in. You are in class 4. Yes. So which poem are you going to perform today? Coronavirus. Okay. Then this is your show. So raise your voice and pass the message of Corona.
Coronavirus is a group of viruses whose first case was reported in China, the Covid-19, with the flu-like symptoms affecting the respiratory system. Its reality is now being fed worldwide, spreading like a bushfire, causing panic and fear to all human race and humbling nations. No, do not fear, stand still, pray to God, follow instructions, that is so. Yes, it is not a joke, neither a death sentence, for wherever you go, you carry your own death. What matters now is how you see it, and be smart enough to know everyone is a suspect. To many, it's a wake-up call to a good hygiene, #hand washing campaign. Some it's a sign of end times, yet many are clueless, not knowing what to do or where to go. For the rumors of Corona are all over, and it all sounds a challenge. Full of myth and humor, it sounds a joke when a comedian posts, "No one knows what China ate, yet the whole world is hand washing." A virus that's almost sending the whole world in the ICU and en masse. Stop and spread the word. COVID-19 is real. Spreading through the eyes, mouth, nose, droplets from a cough or sneeze from a patient, or close contact with a patient with symptoms. It can be prevented by washing hands with running water and soap or sanitizer. Avoid overcrowded areas. Wear masks. Stay safe. Stay home. We shall overcome. #be ready for it. #be safe from it. Be smart and inform yourself about it. Be kind and support each other. The result.
Wow.
Wow.
I hope you guys have the message. The message is actually very amazing. And at the same, Hope has been able today to show us how to dance. She's shown me how to model. She's shown me how to make maths, and maths that actually have a message, which she can read for us before she actually does. You said you have another poem, right?
Yes.
Okay. Can you show us these maths and tell us what they say? You can read them for us?
Yes.
So what is that math say?
COVID-19 is real.
Good. And this one?
Stay home.
Good. And this one?
We shall overcome.
Amazing. And this one?
We are one.
We are one. Guys, this young lady is out to give us the message during this season. And she has one more last poem, because she said, today I have to pass all the right messages so that children and the whole globe can actually understand how powerful it is Corona, and we can actually overcome it. Hope, this is your show again. Tell us your second poem.
Thank you, God, for protecting Kenya, our president, government officials, health workers, and all walks of life in the fight against COVID-19. We as children admit that COVID-19 has interfered with our childhood freedom and rights in most areas. Anyway, the result we shall overcome. To all children, let's join the fight by washing hands with running water and soap or sanitizer. Avoid overcrowded areas. Wear masks. Stay safe. Stay home. Help your parents at home and be creative with that time. I am, I will, and I must join the fight. Hashtag COVID-19 is real. Hashtag I care that never quits. Thank you.
Wow. Evelyn.
Yes.
That is the second message from the amazing Hope. She said that we can use sanitizer. How do we use the sanitizer? And why do we use sanitizer?
To clean the virus.
Wow. And why do we do our masks?
So that we cannot spread the virus.
Amazing. I said earlier, this show is gonna be different. It's gonna have a surprise, and the surprise has just passed a message to the whole globe that we have to sanitize, we have to do our masks, we have to stay at home, children have to help their parents, and better still, we shall overcome. That is one of the most powerful messages we can have this season. We shall overcome. Back to you, Evelyn, and I hope you've heard the message too.
Yes, Stephen, she has just inspired me. Like the hashtag she's using, hashtag COVID-19 is real, hashtag stay safe, hashtag join the fight to end coronavirus is very, motivational, and at some point really encouraging every young person who is watching her today that we can do this together. Her maths are amazing. A poem, I don't want to add anything to that because she has spoken to each and every one of us, and I hope you've added from Hope herself, Hope Wamboi. Her name is already giving us hope that even in the midst of coronavirus, we still have to hope, because this is not the end of everything else. And you've heard it from a child. So what can we do? We can only take up her name and say, we together can hope. And thank you very much, Hope, for sharing with us those two amazing poems that you had for us. And thank you for the good job that you're doing to ensure that other young people, and especially kids like you, sanitize, wash their hands, put on their mask, and are still able to smile. Thank you very, very much, and we appreciate your time and for coming to join us today. Thank you, Hope. Stephen.
Yes.
What a surprise. And Yahweh, when we were starting about saying my, oh my, the Jeff Koinange style, then now I see why it was good for me to actually buy.
Keep it out. I am always here to surprise you ever and ever again. And I have the second surprise. You want to see the second surprise?
Let's see the second surprise.
This is from the youth. She's also a poet, and she's always been advocating for the youth to always be able to stay safe. She's done poems also across the country, enlightening, sensitizing, and informing youths on how not only to stay safe, but also to keep all of us safe. So these are my surprises, and there's more always when you keep it straight on, the voice of the youth and adolescents.
Wow. Thank you very much, Steve. That was really amazing. And you've refreshed us, after having that in-depth conversation and having Hope Wamboi talk to us in a poetic manner of how it is important that we come together, how it's important that we realize that COVID-19 is not a scam, like I think many of us are still thinking it's a scam, and just take the right precautions to take care of ourselves. And to our online viewers, my co-host is amazing. Mimi siwezi ongeza kitu. Like you've seen. Next time, I don't know. I'll just be here with you waiting to see what is the new thing is bringing. And I'm sure it's going to be really, really amazing. For right now, thank you very much for that lively, encouraging and a poem that has really, I'm sure the viewers are watching it online have been able to listen within the rhymes and the rhythms inside it are very amazing and very fabulous. And we just say thank you for her for being able to share with us her message. Thank you very much, my co-host Steve, for that amazing and wonderful surprise that you had for us. And we've really enjoyed listening to Hope and also listening to her talk to us about the different challenges and how it's really nice to put our words into poem. With all that said and done, Steve, thank you for being on the ground and for bringing us the messages and the stories in the ground. We totally do appreciate your work, and I'm just so happy to have you as my co-host. Thank you. And now I just want to bring in our panelists back and see if we have questions for them, and we'll be able to ask if there are any questions on the social media. I'm just checking now on our Facebook page to see if there are any questions coming up or any comment for our panel. Also, just to say, Shalom has left. She was rushing to go to another meeting, and we are grateful that we had her here. If you have any questions for her, just send them in. We'll be able to share it with her, and she will be able to respond. Lisa says, one positive thing about no social media platform is the block button. Block anyone who makes you feel uncomfortable. Block anyone who harasses you or speaks to you in a different manner. Block for the sake of your mental health. Thank you very much, Lisa. And all of us know of the block button. Just block those people. Block the harassers. Like earlier on, Philip said, you can report them. Do not entertain online abusers, cyberbullying. Do not entertain. Do not be a victim. Do not entertain it. Ensure you block and you report. Mariah says parents need to guide their teens by putting person and managing their online work. Very important. Be your child's best friend. Know what they're doing because it's important. It's important to actually protect them and guide them even as we dive into the online space. McKenna Reed says, Hope is a lovely girl with lots of hope. And indeed, she is lovely with a lot of hope. Lisa says, myth and false information can still be found online. How do we filter this and ensure that adolescents can access accurate and age-friendly information, especially on sexual reproductive health and rights? And maybe I will push this to Brian because I'm sure Philip and Shalom have left for another meeting. And Brian, maybe you could respond to Lisa's concern on the myths and misconceptions around the online space because I know you are also a sexual health advocate. And how can we ensure that adolescent girls and boys are accessing sexual information?
So regarding information access, I believe we have already established organizations on working on reproductive health, and Stress Talk is one of them, giving a lot of information on sexual reproductive health. So the best thing is for those who are able to provide this information out there, especially accessing parents who are able to provide information to their children. We can only rely with the organization that we know are doing something on sexual reproductive because there's a lot of information. I said, like, the internet is a jungle. There's a lot of information out there. Some are good, some are not good, some are just there to destroy. So it's always good to first verify the genesis of that site or information you're getting from, and always verify with organizations that are doing the same thing, like the number of sexual reproductive health organizations are working. So always work within established, already known organizations working on sexual reproductive health, and verify information through the same organization. So yeah, it might be hard because one, you might not know the organization, but I'm pretty sure when you go online, which is another thing, you will find this information out there, yes. But always try to verify the information with the already existing platforms, yeah.
Amazing. Yeah. I hope, Lisa, Brian has been able to respond to your concern. It's important that we verify the different organizations that are bringing out sexual reproductive health information, and especially on the online space, because like all our panelists have talked about, we don't know who is who behind these softwares, behind these WhatsApp, this Facebook, and these Twitter pages. So it's important that we verify this information. Mikrino Dambo is saying, I hope this conversation will be accessible for sharing after this. Very powerful information here. Thank you very much, Mikrin, for tuning in. We appreciate your time and being able to join us. So, Brian, I think that is it from our online viewers. Martha also say parents have a really big role in ensuring online safety to their kids, especially now during this pandemic. #Tubonge Thursday. Rita is very grateful and is saying a lot of insight for a role of parents, and maybe we can also talk about parents who are illiterate. Very key, just like Shalom talked earlier, that we might have parents who are also illiterate and they're not, internet or digital space aware. So it's important that we take them through and help them understand how the digital space works. And now it's also very important for them to take keen interest and keen note of what their kids are doing. Not to take much of your time, and I know we're all using internet and you're online. I just want to ask Grant to give us his last words as we end this amazing show.
Okay, because we are talking about so it's important that this is a message for the parents and all the caregivers and guardians out there, for us to curb issues of cyberbullying and issues of trolling online and kids being bullied online. It's important to let your child what cyberbullying is, because most of the cases go unreported or parents are not aware because kids don't know what cyberbullying is. So it's always important to make sure that your kid knows that if someone spreads rumors about him or her online, post fake articles, maybe sending mean texts or nudes or like information that is not relevant to them and them feel distressed, that is cyberbullying, and they should report the same, because children don't know what the difference cyberbullying is and just giving information or being told you're not good. And it's always good to always make sure, let your child know that you have control, they have control over information that they're getting, and they should always tell or inform the parents or to inform you of the kind of information they're getting if they feel uncomfortable about that information, so that we're able to identify the issues of cyberbullying and avoid the lives that are being lost from the same. So I think that's one take home that I should give to parents and caregivers out there.
Thank you very much, Brian, for that insightful conversation. And we are always glad to have you come here and talk to us, because you are a young person, you are a psychologist, you use the social media a lot, so you understand the pros and cons. And it's just amazing to always have you talk to other young people, to listen to you, and also to understand how we can navigate this different social media platform. Thank you very, very much. And we totally do appreciate your time. To our online viewers, thank you very much for tuning in and for always listen to us, and also to share what you have with us, to learn. And remember, it's very important that the social media platform that you are using, protection starts with you, security starts with you. Your password is your secret. Don't post your nudes, don't post your porn videos. I mean, just keep it to yourself, because you might want to put them out there, but it might come to haunt you in the long run. Remember, also, employers currently are looking at your online space and online work for them to be able to recruit. So it's important that you keep a clean space on the online space and just protect yourself from bullying, from predators, and from anything that might harm you or might come to harm your psychological well-being because of how you're using social media platform. And with that all said and done, I also want to say all sexual reproductive healthcare services, needs, and commodities are essential. There is nothing that is not essential. For women, girls, and boys, everything is essential. For adolescent girls, everything is essential. Your sexual health is your right. It is a human right, and it's essential that you access all the services and the commodities that you need. None of them can be degraded because of a pandemic, and none of them can be put aside because of the pandemic. So, Thank you very much. And that is from us, Straight Talk TV. And remember to always tune in every Thursday, #Tubonga Thursday. Bring in your questions, suggest any topics or concerns that you might want us to talk about, and we'll be able to look for experts to help us digest and break down this conversation. Thank you. Stay tuned and bye for now. Stay safe, wash your hands, put on your mask when you're going outside, check on your neighbor, are they okay? Remember to be kind and supportive, and just like Hope Wamboi said, remember to hope, breathe, and smile. Bye, guys.
Hi everybody.
Hi guys, my name is Jenny Machule, Taragas High School.
My name is Rafael Juma from Tata County Student School.
My name is Maureen Shitawa. I'm from Shenascals High School located in Nakuru County.
Mini Matu, Matimaina, Tika High.
Hi guys, I'm Belinda Sifuna, Machuli Girls School from 4.
I'm in Form 3 and you're watching Straight Talk TV.
Watching Straight Talk TV.
I'm in Form 4, the school is in Machakos County, and you're watching Straight Talk TV. Keep watching.